want to touch on, which is being a Canadian. It's where I was raised. You've actually been quite active in talking about border control, which is an issue we always associate with the Mexico-U.S. border, rarely as much with Canada. Talk a bit about the reinforcements there and how you're thinking about that.
So the number of illegal immigrants coming over the northern border has gone up something like 700% in just the past 6 months. And so it's becoming a real issue all across the northern border. And the United States northern border is huge. It's one of the largest peaceful borders on the planet. And we share one. We don't have a huge part of it, but New Hampshire does have a northern border. And so what we've seen is the Border Patrol agents who do a very good job up there, they don't have the resources, they don't have the manpower. A lot of that has been shifted to the southern border to kind of make sure that all this stuff is being fulfilled on. So we see folks just kind of walking across. Canada has some international agreements with certain countries that allow it that make it very easy for those folks to go to Canada and then potentially walk across a very unguarded, unprotected northern border. So all I've done is I've simply gone to the federal government and said, look, you're not putting the manpower here. You're not putting the money here. Let me do it. We'll do it. I'll put the money up. I'll put the manpower up. Just let my state police, my sheriffs, some of the folks in the northernmost towns be able to have what they call, it's an ICE, I think it's called an ICE detainer agreement. So effectively, we are empowered to do a lot of those things that right now they don't have the manpower to do. So we're kind of waiting to hear back. It doesn't look great. Unfortunately, Homeland Security has been have a bit of a deaf ear to all of this. So we're going to keep pushing the issue and just make sure that we're protecting, our part of the northern border and ensuring that if folks are even thinking about coming across, it's not in the state of New Hampshire.
Now, I'm always aware of the fact that you come from a rich political tradition, Governor. Your father being a former governor, obviously your older brother as well. I'm curious what advice they have given to you that has really shaped you or that you come back to again and again in terms of your own leadership or thinking.
Yeah, it's interesting. Being that my dad was a governor, he's still around. And, he gave me a great piece of advice once. He said, be wary of unsolicited advice, right?
Okay.
Right? Because
don't listen to me.
Unsolicited advice, it's rarely taken. And so it adheres to that. So he says, look, I'm always here for you. If you can give me, if you have any questions or you have want to bang some ideas around. And I do, I call him a couple times a week about what's happening, what he's seeing politically. What does he think of this? And sometimes he gives me an answer that is very, well, it would have been perfect in 1987, but I need to kind of shape that into something today. It's shaped that into kind of a 2023 answer, into understanding our communication, our systems, and the dynamics we have today. So the biggest piece thing I took from both my mom and my dad wasn't so much that they had to tell me, but just in how he governed. He said, be accessible, be genuine, right? And be accountable. Just be yourself. So many folks, so many of my peers, if you will, try so hard being something they're not. They really limit their accessibility to the public in terms of allowing that constituent service dialogue to happen, which is so important, being really transparent about who you are, what you believe, and letting the questions fly. So I do a lot of national media, as you were talking about earlier, but the main reason I do is because I love to hear the questions. I love to get the input. What are folks hearing out there? And I want to be super accessible and transparent about where I am on this stuff. And when you do that, you build an amazing amount of public trust. And that's the key to all this. Transparency, that transparency is the foundation of public trust. And it builds a relationship, if you will. The best thing I can do for my citizens is give them real valuable listening time. The story I give you, maybe you've heard it before, I do all my own grocery shopping. I love to go grocery shopping. It's like my
you
own
love
meditation,
it?
if you will.
Why do you love it?
Two reasons. Number one, I guess it's the math in me. I got my budget. I got my $125 I'm going to spend at the store, and I got to go around and figure it out. I'm just very comfortable there. I don't know.
$125 a week for the family? I've got to get your shopping tips then.
Yeah. Well, stay away from the ends. Stay away from the cap, what we call the cap ends of the aisles. You got to go to the middle of the aisles to get the best deal. And, don't be afraid to grab a couple extra coupons because, they tend to add up as well. And look for the specials. And if you